Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be diving in.
So today, we're digging into the news headlines from May 20th, 2025. We've got a U.S. national report and a global one, too.
Yep, and our mission really is to sift through it all, pull out what's significant for you.
Connect the dots, basically.
Yeah.
Cut through the noise and get to the core insights.
Exactly. Looking at the why behind the headlines, potential consequences, ripple effects.
Like this big proposed bill in the U.S., how could that reshape things? Economy, healthcare.
And then there's the whole international scene. Conflicts, alliances, it's all connected.
Okay, let's jump straight into the U.S. national stuff then. Top of the list seems to be President Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Right. It's not just talk. It's a huge multi-trillion-dollar proposal. We're talking tax breaks.
But also some pretty major cuts, right, to Medicaid and food stamps.
That's what's proposed. And interestingly, it's causing, friction within the Republican Party itself.
How so?
The report points to a real lack of unity. You've got conservatives wanting even deeper cuts. But then representatives from high-tax states are demanding more relief for their people. So it's a tug of war.
Making it hard to get everyone on board, I guess? Could it actually collapse?
There's a real risk mentioned that it might not even reach a House vote because of these divisions.
Well, and meanwhile, the Democrats are.
Mostly united in opposition, as you'd probably expect.
Adds another layer of drama, doesn't it? Speaking of which, there's this DOJ charge against a congresswoman.
Yeah, a New Jersey representative. An assault charge related to an incident at an immigration facility.
And Democrats are saying it's politically motivated.
That's the accusation, yeah. Intimidation, political targeting.
Right.
It definitely highlights the partisan tension.
It really does. Everything feels politically charged right now.
It certainly seems that way.
Though, hang on, there was one moment of unity. The Senate vote on tips.
Oh, right. Unanimous vote to get rid of federal taxes on tips.
Which could be good news for service workers, potentially, if the House agrees.
It's a reminder that sometimes, amidst all the fighting, they can agree on something that directly affects people.
True. Okay, let's pivot to the economy. Markets took a little dip.
Just a slight one. S&P 500, Dow, NASDAQ, all down a fraction after a good run.
And this is happening while there are these bigger worries about U.S. debt.
Exactly. Moody's ratings actually came out suggesting the U.S. maybe doesn't deserve that top-tier credit rating anymore.
That sounds significant. A big statement.
It is, and it feeds right back into the debate around Trump's big economic bill, you know?
How so? The supporters are saying it'll boost the economy.
Yeah, proponents claim it'll lead to a boom. Higher wages, more jobs, investment. The Council of Economic Advisors even put out estimates.
What kind of estimates?
Potential boost to GDP, something like 4.2 to 5.2% short run, and 2.9 to 3.5% long run. Real GDP.
Okay, that sounds optimistic. But there's the other side, isn't there? The tariffs.
Absolutely. That's the big worry hanging over everything. The concern that Trump's tariffs could actually push the economy towards, a recession.
So you've got these two completely opposite forecasts floating around. Boom or bust.
Pretty much. It just shows how uncertain things are and how policies can pull in different directions. It's complex.
Definitely complex. Okay, what about social issues? The reconciliation bill? Impact on health insurance.
Right. That's a major focus. House Republicans are apparently considering changes to Medicaid and the ACA marketplaces.
In the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, they've weighed in.
They have. Their estimate suggests a potential increase in the number of uninsured people. A significant one.
How significant?
We're talking maybe 10.3 million losing Medicaid, another 1.4 million losing state-funded coverage. That's quite a few people.
That's huge. Yeah. Are there specific states where this might hit hardest?
Yeah, the analysis points to places like Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi, and even Washington State, potentially seeing the biggest jumps in uninsured rates.
That would put a massive strain on those states' healthcare safety nets.
It certainly could. Big implications there.
We also saw a headline about a federal agency going full Trumpist. What's that about?
The report mentions it, raising concerns about potential political influence creeping into agency operations. Impartiality questions.
Right, okay. And then there's that wild story from New Orleans, the jailbreak.
Oh, yeah, the escape through a toilet hole. Still looking for 6 inmates.
And now they think there was inside help. An arrest was made.
That's the suggestion, yes. An arrest today points towards potential assistance from within. Just adds another twist.
Crazy story.
Yeah.
And one last domestic point. Tornadoes? More frequent outbreaks.
Yes, the report mentions an increasing frequency of large tornado outbreaks. And crucially, it notes we don't really have a clear understanding why this trend is happening yet.
Hmm. A worrying climate sign, maybe? Unpredictable.
Definitely unpredictable, a reminder of nature's power.
Okay, let's shift gears. Go global. Middle East first. Still very tense, it seems.
Extremely tense. Reports of Israeli strikes in Gaza continue, sadly, with dozens more deaths reported. This is happening even with very limited aid getting in.
And Netanyahu made a statement about taking control.
Yes, explicitly stating Israel's intention to take control of all Gaza territory. That's a significant declaration.
What does that mean, practically? And internationally?
Well, it signals a potential major long-term shift. Huge implications for Palestinians, regional stability, and the international community is reacting.
Like the EU?
The EU is planning a trade review with Israel because of the situation. And the UK has actually suspended free trade talks and put sanctions on some West Bank settlers.
So pressure is mounting from allies.
It appears so. And aid workers on the ground, their reports are just desperate. Helplessness, warnings of famine risk because of the ongoing blockade.
It sounds absolutely dire. A humanitarian crisis.
That's certainly how it's being described. Urgent need for access.
Okay, turning to Eastern Europe. Russia, Ukraine. Any movement there?
Some potentially interesting words. After a call with President Trump, President Putin apparently said Russia is ready to work towards ending the fighting.
Ready to work towards it. That sounds cautious.
Mm.
How are allies reacting?
Well, the immediate reaction reported was more sanctions against Russia, so perhaps some skepticism, or just keeping the pressure on regardless. There hasn't been any reported progress in talks yet.
I see. And the Vatican offered to host talks.
Yes, they did, offering a neutral ground, which reflects that global desire to find some kind of resolution, some path to peace.
Always looking for diplomatic avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shifting alliances. Turkey's President Erdogan being framed as a key U.S. partner.
That's what the report suggests, highlighting his role brokering talks in different conflicts. Apparently, President Trump sees him as a strong transactional ally, useful in reshaping Middle East policy.
Interesting. So Erdogan's influence might be growing on the world stage.
It seems that way. It shows how these relationships between leaders can really shift the global landscape. Things are always evolving.
Constantly changing. Okay, what about broader global trends? Economic news.
A bit of positive news from the IMF regarding Kosovo. Their final review shows healthy economic growth, inflation slowing down, finances looking better, good implementation of their programs.
Kosovo's doing well then. Growth expected.
Yeah, expecting strong growth around 4% for 2025. So, a relative bright spot economically.
Good to hear some positive news. And a big development on the global health front. A pandemic treaty.
Yes, a world first. All 193 World Health Assembly members adopted it. The goal is better prevention, better global cooperation for future pandemics.
Sounds important. Are the details worked out?
Not fully finalized yet, but the framework is there. It's a commitment to learn from, recent history and be better prepared together.
A necessary step, seems like. Any other quick global headlines?
A few interesting ones. A cat caught smuggling drugs into a Costa Rican prison.
You're kidding. A cat?
Apparently. You can't make this stuff up. Also, ongoing India-U.S. trade talks, a network outage reported in Spain, and some rising concern about COVID cases in Asia.
COVID again. Worrying.
Experts in India are apparently advising against undue worry for now, but it's something people are watching.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground today. From that massive U.S. bill and all its complexities.
Right, through to the really tense situations in the Middle East and Eastern Europe and these global shifts.
It really does show how interconnected everything is, doesn't it? Domestic politics, global events, the economy.
It absolutely does. And thinking about the U.S. economy specifically, with those conflicting signals we talked about, the potential boom versus the recession risk, it leaves you wondering, right?
Yeah, definitely. What should we be looking for?
Well, that's maybe the question for you, the listener, to ponder. Considering those opposing forecasts, what economic indicators will you be watching most closely in the next few weeks to try and get a sense of which way things are actually heading?
That's a great question. It's this intricate dance between policy and global forces.
Exactly. And it's going to keep unfolding. Staying informed with a critical eye feels more important than ever.